5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Welcome to Two Fandom Friends, the not so stereotypical nerd podcast. My name is Salva, and joining me as always is Chantal.
Hi, everyone.
Oh my God, it's Christmas.
It is Christmas. I'm very tired still.
So we're actually recording this 2 weeks before Christmas. 2 weeks before? Yeah, 2 weeks before
Yeah.
Christmas. We're still in the middle of exams. So
Yeah.
we're trying to like manifest like good vibes here, and like I'm wearing the Santa hat because I'm like,
Yeah,
we need a little joy.
I just finished writing a massive essay.
Yeah, you were mentioning. Is this the other one? Another essay apart from the one that you had?
No, this was the one I was telling you that I handed in. That was like 20 pages long, and then the dossier was like 48 pages or something, or 38
I don't really
maybe.
know what a dossier is, but is it like an appendix?
No. I cannot believe you don't know what a dossier is after I've talked about it multiple times to you.
You've never mentioned dossier to me.
Yes,
This is a brand new word to me.
No, for this assignment, I 100% have because I
You've
complained
mentioned
about
it, but I've always pretended like I knew what it was. You were like, yeah, I have to do a dossier, and I'm like, oh, really? Okay, that's nice.
I can't believe you've done this.
I know. I don't know why I'm very teary-eyed today. I think I
It's the
just woke
weather.
up. I think so
I just
too.
woke up too. I'm so tired. I went to bed at like 10 o'clock, right? It is now 10
Dude,
o'clock and I am exhausted.
you know what's funny? So Chantel's usually the one that stays up late. I stayed up so late last night because I have decided, hold on, I gotta bring it up because I've decided instead of studying for exams to make a patchwork cardigan. So this is what I've been doing. All the squares are done. I just gotta sew it all together. But that's what I
Yeah.
was doing last night, to the point where even my mother came into my room and was like, "You're still up? Like, go to bed. You'll do it tomorrow."
Here's the thing. I'm normally up till like 3, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
and then I just suffer the rest of the day. But last
Mhm.
night I was too tired. I was like, you know what? I'm going to bed.
I think we're at that stage where we're just kind of like hitting the wall.
I have another essay to write.
Oh, how fun.
It's going to be another long one. My parents have told me I'm not allowed to write it unless I'm in a salt circle, so
In a salt circle? Why? What's it
yeah.
about?
Satan.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I'm
I
comparing
love
Satan.
that.
I'm comparing Satan from the Bible and then from the Quran. So my parents are like, "You're doing this in a salt circle. We're not about to have an incident."
I mean, have you seen The Exorcists? We all know
No,
how that went.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I know
I've
like
seen The Conjuring.
she played with the Ouija board, and because she
Okay,
was
but I'm not gonna go to the dude directly and be like, "Yo, Satan,
Could
what's
you
up?"
imagine? Oh my God. What's your source, Satan?
Satan himself.
Anyways, this is supposed to be the Christmas special, and we're talking about the stress that we're in right now. But no, I wanted to ask, this time of year, like we obviously, I mean, it's not always about the gifts, but if you had a gift, what would you like the most like absolutely want?
The most absolutely want
Yeah.
a chateau.
Yeah. You know what? I have to when we talk about what we watched today, we're gonna talk a little bit about that. 'Cause
Listen,
I'm like,
you know me. I
I
have
do
been
know you.
talking about wanting to buy a chateau for
Years.
years. Years and years and years.
I know.
To the point that I've actually researched in depth what I could
Chantal has actually
realistically
looked
buy.
at properties. Like
Yeah.
you've
And
been
the
telling me
history.
prices, and you're like, this is so much cheaper than what we can afford in Toronto.
It's significantly cheaper than what we can afford
Yeah,
in Toronto, which is really, really sad.
I know. I Anyways, we're supposed to be jolly holiday season.
So what about you? What would you
Um,
let me just say there's no money limit, okay?
no money
Anything in the
limit.
world, no money limit. If you could get one thing for Christmas, what would it be?
I would travel the world. Like if someone gave me a plane ticket to travel the world, I would.
But is that
If money wasn't,
realistically one thing?
it's a plane ticket to travel the world. Like if there
Yeah,
was a
but there's no
golden
such thing
ticket
as
that
a
was like this,
plane ticket to travel the world. There's
well,
a plane ticket.
Chantal, we're gonna pretend like it is,
Here,
okay?
here, here, let me fix that for you
You
because
said
my
money
brain,
wasn't a limit.
because it will bother me. I
What?
said one thing too.
Okay.
You're gonna travel with a company that specializes in world travel. There we go. Because it bothers
There you go. There
me.
you go. We're just gonna. I wonder if our boss would ever like let me travel for work. Could you imagine? That's a thing.
I wish I could travel for work. That would be wonderful.
Sometimes they go to Florida. Maybe I'll like hitch on that ride.
Can they take me? Take me.
Chantal's coming for collateral damage.
I'm there. I'm there to make sure everybody's safe.
Anyways, yeah, it's yeah, I would travel. I mean, if I had to choose one specific place, especially after watching this movie,
Scotland.
Scotland, or even just like the UK in general, I would absolutely, like, and like that's the one place that I really absolutely, aside from Italy and France, like
Mhm.
that's the one place that I do want to go, specifically to like the countryside to see the castles and stuff. Because I mean, London, it's a city, like I'll be there for like a day or something, but I'm more interested in looking at the countryside. Have you ever seen those shows where it's like move to the country?
Yes, I have.
Oh my God,
Have you
those,
ever watched Escape to the Chateau DIY?
yeah, I know, because you made me watch that show.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's get
moving on.
into today's movie. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, you have been warned.
So we watched A Castle for Christmas. It's on Netflix.
My
It
parents were not happy with me.
really?
I watched it without them.
Oh,
But okay, in my defense, when I watched it, they were on vacation in another country.
you know what? I think you're
So
entitled to that.
yeah, they abandoned me at home during a very stressful time of the school year, and we're like, yeah, we're going on vacation. Bye. So I was like,
We
you
don't
know
want to
what?
be here
I'm
when
gonna
Chantal's
watch
stress
Christmas.
AF. We're just
Yeah,
gonna leave her here.
literally. All right, so
Yeah.
spoilers, I guess, for A Castle for
Spoilers,
Christmas.
yes. Um, okay, spoilers. So, first of all, I have to say, as someone who reads books and gets emotionally involved with books,
Hmm.
I loved the fact that one, she's an author, but two, she wrote a book and killed off like the
I love
diehard
I
character.
love that. She
And
killed him, and to make it better, she killed him off by pushing him down the stairs.
and then she went on that interview with Drew on the Drew Barrymore show, and she was like, you know what? I could have killed him with like arsenic or whatever. I could have fed
Or
him
I
to
could
the
have dragged him
sharks.
behind the car.
Yes. So, as someone who reads and like gets emotionally involved with characters, if a character is killed off, I never take it personally with the author. But to the point of like this whole movie, so many people do. And
Yeah.
it doesn't just stop with books though. Like it's any type of anything that like fans are a fan of.
Which is weird because there's this one fandom I'm in for the show
Yes.
911. It's a great show.
Yes.
I have never seen a fan. I've been in a lot of fandoms, and a lot of fandoms are like, there's the fan theories. I have never seen so many fans want the characters to be hurt as much as I have with this fandom. They're like begging. They're like, "Oh, put this character in a coma. Oh, make this character get stuck in an elevator. Make this character get stuck
This
like hit by a car. Make this character like get shot." Like, yeah, it's great because it I like Wump. I like seeing characters get hurt, but also this is like one of the first fandoms I've seen where people are like, please hurt this character to push the plot line forward.
So, well, here's the thing, right? Like if the one character is hurt, then the love interest comes in. Because
Exactly.
I'm rereading, well, I'm not rereading it. I'm listening to the graphic audio of A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and the last part of the third book came in, and one of the characters got hurt, and another character that we all love I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like she was like taking care of him and like wrapping his arm because they're in a giant battle. Like this is the big battle
See,
book,
that's the
and
whole thing
I love
in,
it.
in this fandom is that there's these two characters. Okay. Buck and Eddie. Spoilers for 911 if you haven't watched it, but it's been out for 6 seasons, so I don't know what you're doing if you haven't. Um, but they've been best friends since
Mhm.
season 2 to the point, okay, where Eddie has a son, Christopher, right? And said that if Eddie dies, Buck is the one who gains custody of Christopher. And throughout the entire show,
Aw.
there's been points where like someone told Buck, like, you two have a cute kid about him and
Oh,
Eddie.
like
And he just said,
together?
yeah, and he just said, oh, thank you, and walked away. So
Aw.
Buck is very much co-parenting Eddie, or not Eddie,
Yeah.
Christopher, Eddie's
Yeah.
son.
The son.
Um, and they haven't gotten together. They're both straight, by the way. And everybody in the fandom, I started watching the show because I thought that they were together and that they were gay. But they're not. And if you watch the show, they seem very not heterosexual to me. And so everyone's praying that Buck will go into a coma so that then Eddie will realize that Buck is his love and then like they will get together, even though that probably won't happen. But there's a theory
Yes.
that Buck goes into a coma just based off of the names of the episodes. That Buck goes into a coma and then has a dream about because one of the episodes is called like In Another Life or something like that.
Mhm.
That he has a dream about him and Eddie getting together and then he'll come out of the coma and have to deal with the aftermath. But here's also the
Aw.
thing. I don't think that's the way that the show's going to go just because they're very much in tune of just keeping them away from each other to the point where they've had like 2 scenes this entire season together because they don't want them together. So that's my little rant about that.
Yeah. I mean, I do like when shows are more inclusive, and I know that I think it's that show, right, where they have the transgender.
It's the spin-off of that show. This show has
Oh, okay.
they still have quite a bit of inclusivity because they have
Mhm.
a character named Henrietta Wilson. She's a person of color and she's a lesbian who is married and has a son.
Mhm.
And then you have Eddie, who is Hispanic, um,
Yeah.
who's a single dad. And then you have like all these characters, but they're mostly straight.
Yeah.
In 911 Lone Star, they're the ones who have the transgender character. They have a another gay character who actually, spoiler for 911 Lone Star, just got engaged last season to his boyfriend.
Yay.
It was so
Aw.
sweet. It was really cute. And they have a woman named Marjan who's an absolute badass, and she's a Muslim.
Yeah, she's the
So
one
they
with the
have
hijab, right? Yeah,
so
like that's amazing.
they have a lot of inclusivity, which is part of the reason why I like the show, although storylines are not the best, but the characters are great.
But I mean, see, in like today's world, I think we're definitely like stepping in the right direction in terms of like being more inclusive. And then I mean this could go into the news because I saw this, I think it was last week, where um god damn, what's his name? Um the guy who directed Kill Bill, Quentin Tarantino. He had mentioned how Marvel movies are basically just dominating the box office, and it doesn't give a chance for smaller films to go into the theater, which I
I
agree.
agree.
But then Simu Liu, is that his name? Oh, I'm messing that up.
You're talking about the guy who played that character in Kim's Convenience.
Yes.
He
He's
was
in
in Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Okay, sorry. See,
I
he's
think
he's
it's
from
pronounced Simu Liu, but I'm not sure. I
yeah.
probably messed that up too.
I'm so sorry. And he's like from Mississauga, which I mean, amazing that he's like
He's from
so
Saga.
big. I love it. Anyways, but he went on Twitter and he's like, I mean, I agree with you, but directors like you and other older white guys don't put any characters of color or of a different background in your movies. So of course I'm going to go with Marvel side because they're at least trying to be more inclusive with their characters and being more
Except for
diverse.
also, here's the thing. I can never trust the motivations of big companies like Marvel
Mhm.
because I mean, it's a good thing that they've changed, but if you look at a lot of their earlier movies, there's like almost no inclusivity
Yeah.
except for
But
like the
that's the
odd
thing. I
side
think
character.
yeah.
And it's like I always feel like they're doing it just to hop on the trend of being inclusive just because they know that that's where the views are.
Mhm.
But also at the same time, it's also what pushes people to be more inclusive in their movies.
Yeah.
So I'm always
It's
stuck at
always
that
like
point.
that, like, yeah, like you're trying to balance it. But anyways, the whole point of this conversation is fandoms are sometimes very radical and take things a little too personally.
They do for sure.
And
Oh
that's
my
what happened.
God.
It literally like pushed her to go to like
To
move to a
Scotland.
different country to
Yeah.
like get away from it all. And she was even at one point considering like bringing back the character like a soap opera, like it was actually his twin
Twin
brother.
brother, yeah. Or the part where she was like, he was in a coma.
Yes, and like I think I loved that part because as someone who is part of fandoms and like loves characters, I think as fandoms you can't take things so personally.
They need to introduce these people to fan fiction. Like that's what it's for.
Create your own little fan fiction world and
Literally, that's what it's
that'll like
for.
yeah. So yeah, that was my little tidbit and I just love
Yeah.
that like she was like people hate me right now. And it's like, but then she moved to Scotland and find out that everyone in Scotland is like, oh my God, I'm so happy you killed him off.
Yeah, everyone in Scotland are like, well, we shouldn't say in Scotland because that's a whole country, but in that little town she
In
went
the little
to,
town, yeah.
everyone was like, thank God you killed him off. We did not like him. And she's like,
But I loved
yay.
it because it's like there's always going to be I mean, there's always going to be the radical people that hate everything that you do, and yet they
Mm-hmm.
still stick around, which is weird. But then there's going to be the people that are like everything that you do, you're cheering on for them. It doesn't matter even if they like may disagree with it. They're still like, "You know what? That's fine. Like at least you're giving us something." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think that's as a fandom you need to like recognize that. Like just be happy that you
That's the
have
whole
it.
point of fan fiction, guys.
Yeah. Like just be
Someone needs
happy
to
you
introduce
have
fan
it.
fiction to these people in this universe. Like the whole point is that if you're upset with something that happened, you can change it and make a fan fiction.
Exactly. Exactly. Like right now, everyone is so upset with Sarah J. Maas because instead of continuing on with A Court of Thorns and Roses, she's writing for Crescent City 3. Even though she's like, yeah, we're still like not done with A Court of Thorns and Roses. And as much as I would love to see like
But also
another book,
authors
yeah.
have more than one series that they have to get out and do. And it's like you can't expect them to only work on one series for their
Like
entire life.
it takes years for books to be written. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like
Oh
it
yeah.
took her a year to write the draft, and it's going to be like another year and a half before we actually get to see that book. You know, so and like her books are thick.
Yeah.
They're really thick. So I mean, I think at the end of the day, just be happy that you have stuff and you can always reread her series. Like,
Yeah,
and that goes for anything.
exactly.
Anyways, so
Okay, back back to
back
the
on
movie.
track.
So she's in Scotland now. She ran away
Yes.
from people. Her daughter, she's divorced. She's got a
Yes.
daughter. Her husband was an asshole, and we get the vague inkling that she based Winston, the character she killed off, off of her husband.
You know what though?
And she killed him off. And I'm like, you know what? That's fair.
That is fair, okay? If you like, it was what a four. How many books was it? Do you
I don't know.
remember?
It was quite a lot of
It was
books.
a long series. Like she's been writing these books for 20 years, I think it's said in the movie. And if you're gonna base off a character off of your husband who then leaves you for another younger woman, I would also kill that character off
Yeah.
and be like, there, this is what I wish I actually did to you. We do not condone violence though on this podcast.
And then, okay, so I found this part like really weird. So they obviously went with the stereotype that she couldn't understand what the Scottish guy who was picking her up from the airport was saying. But
Hmm.
here's the thing, I could understand him. If you're gonna go with that stereotype, like actually make it him like not being able to understand because I understood every word that he said and she was just like, no. And I'm like, that is not what he asked, woman. That's not even close to what he asked.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that really bothered me. I was like, I love
But
this
then he
movie, but
never
that
did
part
it.
bothered me.
He
But
never
he
did
never
it the
said
rest of
anything.
he never did that the rest of the movie. Like if you're gonna put that on one specific character,
Yeah.
do it
But
for the rest of the
he
movie.
also like I could understand him. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't that difficult to understand.
Like
Uh,
it was funny. I was watching Dairy Girls on Netflix.
oh my God.
Absolutely recommend it. It is so great. I love it. But one of the episodes they go to like the countryside to like clean up the house of their headmistresses aunt that died, and they go to the countryside and they see one woman who like comes out and she starts speaking in Irish, like authentic Irish, and they don't understand. And so they think that she was saying like it's the devil or something like that and possessed. And so the entire time they're there in the house and thinking it's haunted. And it's at the end of the episode, spoilers, it was someone else's house completely. Um, anyways, but that like that it should have been something like that where it was like even the characters like if they speak the same like they're in the same country, even they didn't understand what they were
Yeah,
saying, right? It
exactly.
should have been something like that.
But no. Um, but you know what? That's fine. It was the only time it happened. It was really, really quick and
Yeah.
it wasn't a
But I
big
think
part.
too, like if you're gonna put that on one specific character, make sure that they do that for the rest of the movie. Because I
Yeah,
know we
I
don't see him
agree.
very often, but even like at the end when he was driving her to the airport, like you could have like
You could
put that
understand him like
y-
perfectly.
yeah, like he was speaking English, right? Like I mean,
Like she could understand him perfectly because he was
yeah,
driving her
that's
and
what
he
I
was like,
mean.
"Oh, the car broke down." And she's like, "What does this mean?" Like she didn't have issues understanding him like she did in
Like
the beginning.
before. And I mean, I think you could have like maybe explained it by like, oh well, she's been around these people for
For
like
like
3 months,
3 months, yeah.
which
4
like
months,
I
something like
get,
that.
but like even as like the audience, I think you could have made them still like in the dark a little. 'Cause like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna make him you could have made her still understand him even though he was talking like that, like the way that he did at the very beginning. But like still make him talk like that because
I
it kind of
agree.
like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so he comes, picks her up at the airport. He speaks in a supposedly thick accent that's not very thick. Um, and he takes her to the inn. That's where she meets her fans who are very happy that she killed off Winston.
No, before that, she runs into Miles.
Yeah, but they're at the inn. Miles is not important at this point in the movie.
No, she did the whole. They did the whole like the dog ran into her and he
Yeah,
caught her.
I know, but that's not important at this point
Yes,
in the
it is.
movie.
It's important
it's
because
not.
that's their meet cute.
No, it's not. It's
Yes,
such a
it
like no,
is.
it's not. Their meet cute is when he takes her on the tour. That was way cuter. I did not like this as their I have several issues with this. I did not
Okay.
like this as their very beginning of meeting because he could have, instead of stepping in front of her to stop the dog, he steps behind her. He could have stepped in front of her.
He could have, and then like they both fall because
Well,
like
not
she's
even.
there. She's
He
there.
he could have just stopped the dog and then she would have been like, "Oh, a cute
Oh,
doggy."
thank you. Also, I'm convinced the entire movie the dog knew that they were supposed to be together the entire time
Well,
and
the
did
dog liked
everything in
her
his
better
power.
than him.
I know, but then did everything in his power to bring them together.
Yeah, so anyways, she's at the
Anyway,
inn.
sorry. Yeah.
She meets her fans who are like really happy with her.
The knitters.
The knitters.
I love
And
the
then
knitters.
and we get like quite a bit of background on the knitters too.
We do, which I like. Also, another diverse set of
Because
characters.
there's the one guy who unfortunately his husband had just passed. There's the other girl who was like I think she was divorced. There was
Who was
the
also a black character of
Mhm.
color.
There was the elderly woman,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was the younger woman who worked at the bakery trying to get with that boy she liked who worked with
Yeah.
her. And they're just like a small, nice little cute community
They're
who like uplift each other.
I
It's
love
so
that.
sweet.
I love that. Which I think is why I love the idea of going to the countryside. It's like that community feeling. Like you
Hmm.
don't get that here. Here it's
No.
like everyone kind of just I mean, you may have like the people that like your neighbor and people across the street, but like that's as far as it goes here.
Yeah, so just so you guys
And
know, we
even
live
then
in
you're
a
kind of like wait, are they outside? I'm gonna wait until they're done.
yeah, so that people know, we do live in a fairly large city. And we don't get those small interactions very
We don't,
much.
no. Even when I go to
Like
Toronto, it's like everyone's just like they have a mission
and
to
it's like
get to where
we
they're
don't even
supposed to go.
have like a proper coffee shop or a proper like bar or pub to go
Oh
to.
my God, I would love that. I would love to just like, even if it was a bar, I would go. The one bar
Yeah.
that everyone goes to.
But we don't have that because we have so many because there's so many people here.
Yeah.
So it's hard to build a community off of that. But here in this movie, they have this nice, cute little like pub, and there's this whole community that goes there. There are other communities that go there. It's very warm and homely feeling.
Yeah. I love it. And I think that's maybe why I want to go to Scotland and Ireland and England to the countryside.
Listen, we'll go one day. We'll go one
I
day.
want to have my one like this movie kind of like from the beginning I'm like, oh, she's having her like her Tuscany moment. Have you seen that movie?
No, I have not.
Okay, we're gonna watch that movie one day. I forgot the name of the movie. Something Tuscany. Anyways, so she goes to Tuscany after a divorce, and she, on a whim, just buys an estate and like renovates it and stuff, and that's where she moves her life. But like that's what this reminded me of. It was like on a whim, she's like, okay, I mean, I could go back to New York and just keep living the life that I want to live, that I've been living for the last 20 plus years,
Hmm.
or I can just like completely abandon that and start a brand new life here because everyone hates me back home.
But she didn't really do that. She kind of went there just to get away and to start writing her new book, which her
Yeah.
editor
But
was
then
trying to
she
get
heard
her
that
to
it was
do.
for she heard that it was for sale and then bought the castle.
Yeah, but still, she didn't intend to go there just for the purpose of
But neither did the woman in Under the Tuscan Sun. That's what the name of the movie is. She went there for vacation and then saw that there was a house for sale, and then the bird pooped on her, and the old lady of the house was like, "That's a good luck sign. You're buying the house," because she was so refusing uh buying the house for someone else or selling the house to someone else.
okay.
Anyway,
I've never
sorry.
seen
I
that
just
movie, so I don't really care. Um
That's what
But
I thought when I was
okay,
watching this movie. I'm like, oh,
I
this
did
is so
not
much like that. I love it.
I did not think of that because I have not seen that movie.
Yeah. Also, I think too, I watch a lot, or I read a lot of like Hallmark style romance
I watch
books.
so much Hallmark movies during Christmas.
I know, but I read books like that too because it's like my little comfort. I mean, there's the fantasy books that I read, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna, instead of reading that, because sometimes those are complicated, I'm just gonna like sit and relax and read a rom-com Hallmark style book, and I love it, and it brings me joy.
I just read fan fiction. That's what I
Read
do.
fan fiction, yes.
Okay, so we were talking about her and her going to Scotland, and she has the knitters group, and they're very cute and they're a wonderful group of people.
They
We brushed
immediately welcome her in.
Yeah, and we kind of brushed over I don't even remember his name, but the the guy she's supposed to fall in love with, that he like
Miles.
Miles, yes, thank you. Oh my God. I don't know why I forgot his name. But I brushed over that really quickly because I didn't like that as their first meeting. Like there's so much different ways that that could have gone. But they went with like the really cheesy her falling into him, he catches her, and I did
But
I
Chantal,
get it.
that's like
I get it. I get it. I
the
get it. I get
appeal
No,
of
I
a
get it.
Hallmark
I get
movie
it. It's a Hallmark movie. Well, it's a Hallmark type movie.
style movie, yeah.
I get it. However, they could have gone a little differently and it would have fit the scene better because he literally is like, Hamish, no, and steps behind her. Okay? He steps behind her instead of in front of her. If he really wanted to stop the dog, he would have stepped in front of her.
That's true. But
Yeah.
he's up behind her so he can catch her. Because
Yeah,
he
but
knew that what
she wouldn't know, she would not have needed catching if he stepped in front of her.
Okay,
Just
we'll agree to disagree about their
I did not like that as their first meeting.
okay.
I however like their second meeting a lot. So
When he gives her the tour.
yeah, so let's jump forward to that. So she decides to go up to Dunbar, I think is what it's called, Castle. And she just missed the last tour. I mean, we can see that they're having money issues because the tour guide's like, come to the gift shop, and everyone's like, no, we're
We're
just gonna
okay,
leave.
thanks.
We're just gonna leave. And then she shows up and they're like, well, you missed the last tour of the day. She's like, God damn it. So so
Darn.
then so then Miles is like, and I have to say he's planting heather into the urns, which I like heather, but it's really expensive here, so I've never actually owned a heather before.
hmm
Um but he's planting heather and she shows up and she's like, "Oh no, I missed the last tour." And what does this man do? He's like, "I will give you a private tour." And she's like, "Okay." Like, oh, can you
This is like
give me an any better meeting than that? Like, come on.
this is the these are so this is the moment where when I'm reading and that moment happens, I start to get like the tingles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get like the
Mhm.
goosebumps, like, oh my God, it's happening, it's
It's
happening.
happening. And then, in typical Hallmark style, that's not where they get together.
No.
I mean, I should preface this by saying this movie is on Netflix and it's a Netflix
Yeah.
movie. We're just saying it's a Hallmark style movie.
Style movie, yes. Like the
Uh,
typical.
yeah.
I feel like there is a proper name for it. I think we're just so accustomed to the Hallmark style
Mm-hmm.
thing that yeah. Can
That's what we
I,
call it.
sorry, I
But
do have to say, so I saw this a couple weeks ago. You know, Cameron, um, the chick from Full House.
I never watched Full House.
Okay, well, she was like the younger sister, and she's in a lot of like Hallmark Christmas movies and stuff like
Okay.
that. she had made a comment where she's like, I'm leaving, I'm not making any more Hallmark Christmas movies or Hallmark movies in general because they started being more inclusive and adding like gay couple, lesbian couples into
And that's why
the,
she's quitting?
and that's why she left and moved to like the Christian type Hallmark style movies. And she made a comment on that, and people were like attacking her for it.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
why. Oh my
Which
God, I
is
want
so stupid.
like one of my
I think her comment was, love is, I just believe in the traditional style of love between a man and a woman.
I can't get behind that. I'm sorry, whatever her name is. I
Yeah.
can't one of my favorite like Christmas movies is on Netflix. It's Single All the
Single
Way.
all the
We
way.
watched that
Yes,
together last year
we
and oh my
did.
God. It
We
was
were
one of the
cheering.
I remember watching that and we were both like, now kiss throughout the entire movie. And then when they finally kissed,
The
we
whole
were like
thing.
cheering.
We
Like
were,
that
yes.
movie was so good. Okay, but we're not talking
Anyway,
about
sorry,
that movie.
I had to put that on there because I think like I think like what we see as like the traditional Hallmark movie is like the girl goes to the small town and then
Mm,
like they have
there's
until
yeah.
Christmas to do like whatever they need to do or whatever she has to do until Christmas before they come in and take over the town and then she falls in love with the baker or the mayor or whatever and then she decides to be part of their Christmas festives and save the town. That's just that's how it usually goes, and like that's what we know as the Hallmark style.
Yeah, but I'm glad it's kind of starting to change to be more inclusive.
I I agree. I think it's time.
It's a long overdue.
Very
Um,
long overdue.
so she gets a private tour from
For
Miles.
Miles, yes.
He runs into an issue where he's like, "Oh, there's this wedding and I have to go talk to them." So he leaves her and tells her explicitly, "Do not go
Like stay
anywhere.
put.
Stay put." And what does she do? She goes into like the area that he's
Oh,
told her, "No, no,
Chantal.
no,
Chantal.
no, no. Listen, I am very I have I have a big opinion about this, okay? If
Okay, go
someone
ahead.
tells you if someone's already being nice and taking you on a private tour after all the tours are done for the day, right? And someone has to go deal with something and they say, "Please do not move." You do not move. I don't give a fuck. Okay?
This
You
is how.
you better plant like a tree and stay put until that person comes get you because they're
Okay.
already breaking the rules for you. They're already giving you a little extra, something little extra that you normally wouldn't get. I don't care how badly you want to explore. You already asked if you could go to that area. He said no. Okay?
You wouldn't be
He
a
said
little
no.
curious?
I would be curious, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna go to that area of the
Okay.
castle. Because
Here's what I'm
no,
manifesting for
no.
you. No, no, no. Listen to me. You're gonna go to France, right?
Okay.
You're gonna see a chateau that's for sale. You're gonna go to the chateau, and a
Yes.
guy's gonna be there who like owns the
Okay.
chateau or whatever. And you're gonna have this whole moment, and you're gonna fall madly in love, and that's how you get the chateau. And you also
Okay.
get a man on the side.
Yes, I'm manifesting that for me too. However, if he were to take me on a private tour of the chateau and told me I'm not allowed to go into a specific area, I wouldn't go into that specific area if I haven't like married
I
yet.
guess that's fair.
Because
It's
it's like,
fair,
because
but
I'm very much
also
of no, because think about it this way, right?
okay.
There's only a couple of reasons why he would say no. Okay, first of all, he's a jerk and he just doesn't want to show you. Second of all, he's not a jerk and he just doesn't want to show you because it's private. Third of all, it's dangerous. For whatever reason, especially because we find out later in the movie that the roof is not in the best condition. A lot of those old castles and old chateaus, old buildings
Yeah.
they all have roof issues. It could be dangerous. The floor could be rotting. You could fall through the floor. Um, Fourthly, it's a private residence. Okay, people still
That
live
is
there
true.
and they don't want you there because people still live there.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
So like when she did that, I was like, girl, get your ass back over that line. I was so angry. I was like, oh, I was livid. I was
Yeah, I'll give it
livid.
to you, but also if she hadn't gone, then they
No,
wouldn't
I
have
get
their
why they
like
did it.
enemies to lovers storyline.
I
And
understand
I
100%.
Chantal, you know I love a good enemies to lovers
I know
storyline.
you do. And I get it 100%. I feel like if they hadn't have done that, the story wouldn't have progressed as nicely as it did. It was a good move on the writer's part. However, it still made me mad. Cause at that point, that's when she goes and finds her grandfather's like initials
It was her
into the
father.
I thought it was her grandfather.
No, her father.
Oh, I thought it was grandpa. Oh well. Either grandfather
Like
or
when
father,
she says
whatever.
grandpa, like that's when she's talking to her daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That always confused me. I thought it was her grandfather. I
No,
thought it was her
it
grandfather,
was her
and that was
father.
why everyone like didn't remember her family. But anyways, somebody's initials from her family are in the side of the door, and okay, she's
It was
sneaking around.
Magoo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so she finds the initials, takes the picture, and then she notices Miles coming in looking for her. And what does she do? She closes the door with her
She
hand,
closes
like
the door
fully showing
slowly and he's watching her the entire time.
her
Like,
hand.
you
Her
really
hand
think I
was
don't
like
see
right
you?
there. Like literally, he was like that
Like,
was
you really
oh
don't think I see you right now? I see you. I know what you're doing.
literally. And then like so she has to explain to him, she's like, "Oh, look, there's this." Well, she doesn't explain it to him there. He just kicks her out, right? She explains it later when she's like, "There's this initial." It's a little bit later because he
I
kicks her
think
out.
I think she just mentioned that like it was her father's and
No, because what she did was she was like, "Oh, my family used to work on
yeah,
this
I think
property,"
it
and
was
he
something
was
like
like,
that. It was very
"Oh."
vague. It wasn't
Like,
like
oh, well,
in
he goes, a lot of families used to work on this property, and at which point he goes, there's a reason why I don't let people up here because it is a private residence. People
hmm
live here. And then she's acting as if he's being a jerk, okay? But he's not. He's well within his right to tell her to F off because that is his private property, okay?
To be
Not
fair
only is
though,
that
for
his
her,
private
she
property,
doesn't know
but
that
he
he's the
lives there.
Duke yet.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if he's the Duke or
That's
not.
true.
It's somebody's private property.
Yeah.
Listen. If a random person came to your house for a tour and then you were like, you cannot go upstairs, you cannot go into my room because that's private, and then somebody went upstairs into your room, you would be pissed.
You're like, the fuck are you doing here?
Exactly.
Hello?
Exactly.
Okay. So he kicks her out.
So he kicks her out. It was very great. I love that. I love that. I was like, you know what? Fair, dude. Good play.
That is like,
But it also works for the
yes.
storyline really well
It
too.
does, because now they're enemies.
Now they're enemies. A bunch of stuff happens, and she goes through it from her editor and from her public or her agent, her
Her
agent,
agent,
right?
yeah.
And she's like trying to write this book. She's going through it. And then she finds out that Dun Dunbar is for sale. So she decides she's gonna buy it, and then when she goes to speak to the owner of Dun Dunbar is when she finds out that Miles is the Duke. They have a bit of a tiff, and
A bit.
then
I mean, yeah.
they have a really big fight. And then she ends up at the pub somehow, and he comes and is like, because he rejected her offer and she was
hmm
upset. And then he comes, hunts her down, and is like, you know what? I'll accept your offer if you
But,
live at the castle for like, I think up until December, like till Christmas, pretty much. And
yeah.
I think at that point that was like 3 months away or four
hmm
months. It was something like that. And she accepts. And he's like, if you stay the whole 4 months, you can buy it. If I stay the whole 4 months, I keep your deposit and you don't buy it, type of thing, right? So he does everything in his power to
Oh
get
my
her
God.
to
First of all,
leave.
can we just say another trope that I absolutely love? And I just finished a series. I know the series isn't done because there's another book that's about to come out, but it actually takes place in Vancouver, which is nice. It you don't really see that a lot with books, but it takes place in a small town in Vancouver, and every single book it follows like one of the brothers in the
Hmm.
family, and every single time to their love interest, they create like this like a deal. They make a deal. So the first one, the deal was, I'll help you buy the restaurant of your dreams if you pretend to be my fiance and marry me so that I can become mayor. The second one was, she wanted to like spice up her life and like because she was like, I'm very bored and I like don't have anything going for me. So she goes to the other brother and she goes, I need you to like help me become a hot girl. And he's like, I'll do it, but you have to help me with like my social media because he was like a surfer who was trying to get the thing. And then the third book, she basically her aunt died and left her and the other brother an inn, and they don't like each other. And they make a deal where she's like, okay, she needs money because her fiance basically scammed her and stole all her money and ran away. And then they make a deal and he's like, I'll buy out like $2,000 of the property um and all that. So I love that. I love like the fact that I that's another trope that I love. I just have to put it out there.
Yeah, like yeah. But
Yeah.
it's just yeah. It's just
Yeah.
yeah. Um
So the whole point of that was that I really like the whole let's make a deal trope.
yes. So she makes a deal with him. She agrees and he does everything in his power
He gives
to
her
get
the worst
her
room in the
get her to
house.
leave. Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah,
have any heating. The roof is leaking. It's cold
also
AF.
also we should say he very much thinks that she's just doing this just because, not for like a good
She's
reason.
doing it like on a
Like
whim.
he wants someone who will actually love Dun Dunbar to take over the castle.
Can I just say her whole
And
sales pitch? It was, do you believe in love at first sight?
and
Because
it was
I
exactly
don't.
from her book.
But as soon as I looked at Dun Dunbar, I knew it was home. And then the next day, right? He's sitting at the table with her book open and he goes, I don't believe in love at first sight. He goes, now where did I hear that
That,
before?
yeah. Literally she used her book to make her sales pitch. Um but it's at that point I think that she like shows him the initials on the door and he's like
Yes.
and she's like and he's like, McGoo, what type of name is that? And she's like, it's
Yeah.
actually McGinty, but he never finished. And then he
No,
actually
because
at some
before that
point,
he was like at the dinner table, he was like, I looked into the records and there was nobody with the last name Brown here, because that's the name that she was going with, right?
yeah,
Like her
because that was her
husband's name.
husband's. Yeah.
So he looked into the records and then she was like, it's actually McGinty. And then she showed him the thing.
Yeah, and then he actually goes and finishes the initials. Like she finishes he finishes the full name because he doesn't like things being left like unfinished.
Unfinished.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the moment that I'm like, you like her. You like her. I think as much as you want her to leave, you like her.
Yeah, and then like
Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it. I don't think he would have done it
so
otherwise.
continue with this. We talked about the dog briefly, Hamish, but the dog actually like leads her to him when he's taking a bath.
In the bathtub?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, listen,
And
that
like
was a hot scene.
that was great. That was great of the dog, but also the
Yes.
fact that Miles even said to her, like, the dog doesn't really like anybody, so you must have like meat in your pocket or something stupid like that. He says
Yeah.
something like stupid like that. Like, do you have meat in your pocket? Like, do you have sausages? Because he wouldn't do that to anybody. And she's like, yeah, I carry meat around in my pocket all the time. Like, what kind of a question is that? So he's like, we're seeing very much that the dog is in support of this relationship.
From the very
Which is
beginning.
amazing.
I mean, listen, if the dog's on board, that tells you something.
Yeah. So the dog is very much trying to get her and Miles together, and it does a spectacular job at it.
Yes.
Um, yeah. Where to next in the story?
I mean, at one point he takes her to that well and
Oh,
he
yeah, and
tells her the
tells her.
story of the lady and the battle that she did to save the town
Yeah.
and all the people there. And that was her inspiration moment for her next book,
But also it was their inspiration to do the
the
New Year's
Christmas
Eve
party.
Christmas party.
Yeah. Which like she's like, why haven't you done it since? And I
Yeah.
think like he was like at this point like he doesn't like the idea because everyone ahead of him, like his father basically ruined the whole, like this is why he needs to sell the castle. His father put
Yeah.
everything in debt. And he's saving it to save the people because he does love the people of the town.
And that's
Even
why he
though
doesn't want to sell off the farmland and
yeah.
everything.
And
Yeah.
like, and so I think part of him is like, well, I don't want to become like my ancestors, but at the same time, he's like, nobody likes me, so I'm not gonna throw a party on
Yeah, and
Christmas
but
Eve.
she convinces him to.
Yeah. But I mean, and
And
even like the after that moment, they go back, well, they go to the inn, right? They go to the
yeah.
pub and they have the drink and everyone's dancing and everyone's funny and that's like her pulling him out of his shell a little.
Yeah, and he actually joins in on the
He
dancing
does
too.
the dancing and the singing, and I love it. And they go back to the castle and they
Mm-hmm.
have that like almost kiss, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God. And then he fucks up by saying this was not a date. It
Yeah.
wasn't a date.
Yeah.
And it's like she was
It's like,
like hurt.
bro.
Like,
And he was hurt. He hurt himself.
but the thing is, like, she didn't ask, like, he brought her. Right?
Yeah.
He's
And
like,
he
we're going
and the
on a
thing is,
trip today. I'm
he
going
he
to show
hurt
you something.
he hurt himself by saying that too. Like you could tell.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, it was
And then
so good.
the dog follows her and
Yeah.
he's like, hey, Mish, like, what is going on?
Yeah, literally. Oh my God, that was a great scene. And yeah, I don't know where to fast forward to next because I very much want to go straight to the end, but there's so much that happens in between.
Well,
Like,
she starts to get more comfortable in around the
yeah, because
people and
she renovates her room.
she renovates her room with the help of the knitters, which is
Yeah.
amazing. And even like the knitters are coming in and they're helping her decorate the castle and like really being part of it. And they're even like going to him and talking to him more. And um,
He's becoming more of a community through her. Like
yeah.
he's becoming more of a part of the community through her.
Yeah. At one point, I think they had like some kind of an argument or something. I don't
Yeah.
remember. I think it was like,
Yeah, because I watched this movie like a week ago. So
yeah, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. But there was a point in the movie where he they must have gotten into like a small argument and then she was um at the pub with the knitters and he comes in, right?
yeah.
And he comes to the bar, orders a drink, and the bartender is like, "Oh, so now you're a regular."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Don't start."
Yeah, literally.
And then he talks to her and he's like, "Look, I know what you're doing. This wasn't part of the deal. You said you were only, you were supposed to come in and stay for the 3 months and then that's it. And my whole thing was to get you to leave. And it wasn't like there wasn't supposed to be any kind of oh, it was before he like confirmed he wanted to be in the Christmas party or he wanted to do the Christmas party. So, that was the moment where he was like, this wasn't part of the deal. Like, I don't know what you think you're doing, but it's not working. And then she turned around, she goes, who in their right mind would have like signed off on that contract?
Yeah,
But
literally.
like I did. So you're stuck with me because I'm not leaving and I'm not giving up on that deposit.
Yeah, literally, because she loves Dun Dunbar. You can tell.
Yeah, at that moment, like she definitely, even before that, like even when I think when she was on the tour,
Yeah. And
she
like
saw it and she was like,
he's doing everything in his power to get her to leave, but she's
yeah,
not leaving because she's a queen.
she is. But even I think too, like when she was after the tour, she goes to the pub and she's talking to the knitters and she's talking about like how her family used to work there and
Mhm.
she was part of the community and the older lady was like, I knew a McGinty, and she's like, it
Yeah.
was my dad, and they like had that
And then
moment,
she was like, yeah, you kind of look like him.
and then all the knitters were like, you're one of us. And I
Yeah.
think that was definitely her moment of
But that was also like way at the beginning too. We were kind of like bouncing back and forth,
we
but
were
that was
bouncing back and
closer
forth.
to
But I think that was her like aha moment, like, you know what, I'm gonna buy the inn. Because I think
yeah.
that was also the moment that they told her that it was for sale.
Yeah, the castle, not the inn.
Yeah, sorry, the
The
castle.
castle. So she was
And that
so
was
she
her moment of like, I'm part of that, like it's part of my family just as much it is as a part of his. So
yes. So going back forward,
yeah.
they're planning the Christmas party. She's starting to get more involved into things because she did that one tour that one time with
Oh yeah,
the
because she was in the library reading, and then the tour came in, and she was like, I'm so sorry, I'm not supposed to be here.
yeah, she was just there writing, trying to write. Um, so she's getting more involved in things.
People
She's
actually bought stuff from the gift shop that time,
yeah.
which was
I mean,
amazing.
she did give like a bunch of wrong information on the tour, but whatever. Um, she's starting to help them like actually make a profit. She's doing all this great stuff. They're planning their Christmas Eve party thing, and then she finds the dress.
The glorious dress. It's a gorgeous dress.
Dress.
I
It's
will
a
say
very
I'm not
pretty
a fan of
dress.
the neckline. I didn't like the
Oh, I
swooping
liked it.
neckline.
I
I
liked it.
like if it was more. Anyways, that's
I
just not the
liked it.
type.
Listen,
I liked it.
your opinion is wrong. It's perfect. There's nothing wrong with the neckline.
I'm just not a fan of that type of neckline.
Okay, but it looked good on her,
It
so who
did,
cares?
yes.
So who cares?
Anyways,
Your opinion is wrong. It's great.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. My opinion is right, and it's the only one that matters. I'm joking, I'm joking. But yeah, I did really like the dress, and I very much like how she took something traditional and made it more modern, because it felt like that was kind of a theme in this movie, was
It
bringing the
was,
traditional
yeah.
into the modern, and she did that with Dum Bar. She did that with this dress, and there's a lot of history with that dress too. I think it was, I don't know if it was his wife's or his mom's. I think it might have been his mom's
They
dress.
never really mentioned.
I feel like they mentioned
No,
something
because
about the
she
dress.
she at one point she was wearing the dress to try it on, and this is the moment, right? Do we want to talk
Yeah.
about the moment now?
Yes, talk about it.
Okay, so she's trying on the dress, and then the dog Hamish takes her shoe
Yes.
and runs it to his door
Yes.
conveniently, and she's like trying to grab the shoe and stuff, and he opens the door, and he's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And she's wearing the dress, and she goes, oh, I'm so sorry, I hope this is okay, I found this, and I want to wear it at the Christmas ball, unless it's like your mom's or your wife's or something.
Yeah.
That's what she said, and he's like, it's not it's not okay. And then that's when they kiss, and then they go into the bedroom, and then do the little
Stuff happens.
thing.
They
Stuff
do a little
happens.
dance.
They do a little dance. And that is the moment that we've been waiting for.
And then they ruin it, or he ruins it.
So
'Cause they have
they
another
wake
argument.
up, right? It's like Christmas Eve, or like the day before Christmas Eve, and no, it is Christmas Eve morning.
Yeah.
And they wake up, they have dinner, and oh my God, already? We've been going on tangents, sorry. And they have their like moment in the snow, and it's all romantic, and they're dancing and all that. And then she's like, "Hey, I've been thinking, after Christmas, why don't you stay and live here?" And then he's all like, "What, as your tenant?" And then he fucks it all up, and he's like, "You stole my house, you stole my home, you stole my friends, you stole my dog." And then she
But
leaves.
But to be fair, I get where he's coming from. She could have maybe been a bit more. I mean, I get it, he's trying to sell it, but also she could have been a bit more sensitive to the fact that he has lived here his entire life.
Yeah.
and she clearly cares about Dun Dunbar a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So she could have been a little bit more sensitive to that
But
fact.
at the same time, it's like they kissed, they had
But she
their
could have she
moment.
could have very easily been like, "Oh, you leaving was never a thought." And I feel like he would have like been more perceptive to that,
Yeah.
like receptive to that than
Yeah.
her being like, "Maybe you shouldn't leave," you know? She could have been like, "Oh yeah, like you leaving was never a thought. Like you and
Yeah.
Dun Dunbar come together like obviously." But I mean, I
I
get why
love
he
it.
got upset, but I also feel like she's not in the wrong either for suggesting
Yeah. And then she leaves, and that's when I start crying because she says bye to the dog and says bye to everyone, and everyone's all sad. And then
And then her
nobody will
car
drive.
breaks down.
The car breaks down, and then nobody wants to take her to the airport. Even like she's like, Angus, you want to take me? And he's like, no.
Yeah, literally.
So, everyone goes to the ball and oh, before this, right? Like he's sulking and
Yeah.
he's reading her book in his bed and he's having like those flashback moments and that's when he realizes how much of an ass he was and how much he actually loves her.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Christmas
We love
Eve,
flashback moments.
yes. Christmas Eve comes and his friend also knocks some sense into him too.
Hmm.
And he goes to the inn where she is all alone crying and
Oh yeah.
throws a
The
snowball,
snowballs.
but then like she
And then
opens the window
the
and it
window and it
hits her
hits her.
in
And
the
then he
face.
calls and then she's like 1 second and she closes the window and he's like, "Oh my God, you idiot." He calls himself an idiot. He's
He's
like,
like, "You
"I can't
idiot."
believe you just did that." And then she comes down to see him.
And they have their like confession moment of like
Yeah.
finally realizing like I love you. I love you
Yeah, I love you
too.
too. And he's got like, okay, to make things better, he's got like his horses with him. And he's like, "Go to the ball with me, go to the Christmas Eve party." And she's like, "Okay." So she goes, gets changed, and he brings her to the party on horseback.
I
Like,
mean,
you
how
don't get more
glorious.
romantic than that, which I guess makes sense because like they were saying that pretty much most like everybody in the village was already at the party with
Yeah.
their cars. So he took horses to go get her and brought her to the
So
castle on
romantic.
horses.
Oh,
Like,
so
oh,
romantic.
it's
Such a
amazing.
grand gesture,
And
honestly.
then he doesn't even. Sorry, did you hear that? Did you
No.
hear that cough? Oh, I heard a very loud cough in my ear. Um, okay, so even to make the gesture even more grand, more romantic, he gets her daughter and invites her on Christmas Eve. And her daughter originally wasn't able to come because her father was getting married
Married
to
to
another woman.
what's her
Um,
name?
yeah, so her mother was like, "You should have a good relationship with your father, go to his wedding." That type of thing. And then Miles is like, "I will fly you out to Dun Dunbar after the wedding." And that's what he did.
Yeah,
He flew her out to Dun Dunbar to spend Christmas Eve with her
that
mother.
is
And it was
so
so
sweet.
sweet.
I love that. I love like even I think he definitely had that planned ahead of time
For sure. Like, but I mean
before.
also he's a duke, so who knows what he could do like last minute.
Who knows? Yeah.
But it was very sweet and it was very much a grand gesture.
And then they all lived happily ever
And then
after.
they all lived happily ever after.
And she
But
wrote
it
her
was
book.
like they had the whole dance, they did the whole like they had the whole party, the whole village was there,
Yeah.
everybody was
I do have
together.
to
It was very
say, I
nice.
love Celtic music.
It's very nice.
I love it. Anyways, what was it? Oh, the book that she wrote, Heart of a Warrior.
Hmm.
I kind of want to read it.
I
Like the
know,
whole
right?
premise behind it is so good.
I want to read it too. And then like just the ending, it just I just loved
I
everything
loved
about it
it.
because it tied everything up into a nice neat bow, but it also kind of left it open for another movie. Hope they
Do you
make
think
another
they'll
one.
do another movie?
I want them to. I don't think they will because they tied it up so like nice
Yeah.
and neat. But I kind of want to see another movie of them getting married on Christmas Eve.
That would be so good.
It would
Oh,
be so good. And then like
anyways, yeah.
I want to see like the conflict of him being like, "Oh, like you're better for Dun Dunbar, but I feel useless because like you actually know how to how to make people
That
come spend
internal
money.
conflict
And
he
then
has with himself.
yeah, and then like like every Hallmark-esque movie where they're like, let's not get married, and they're like, fine, and then they end up getting married anyways because they're great together and they realize it, and then like
Yes.
yeah,
Anyways, ratings.
10 out of 10, obviously. Like
I
this
think
movie
there's
was so
something
good.
about, I don't think it can ever give a Christmas movie a low rating just because it's a
Like
Christmas movie.
here's the thing. There are Christmas movies that have lower ratings, but the reason why this one's 10 out of 10 is because everything was wrapped up neatly. The characters were amazing. The whole entire story was amazing. Just like following the progression was really good. Everything about it, amazing.
I loved it. Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna give it 10 out of 10 too.
And also, there's a difference between having a really good high budget movie and having a really good low budget movie. This movie, you could tell, didn't have a huge budget, but it was still really well done because the story was there.
Yeah, that's the
Like
thing. Like,
if you have a good story, it doesn't matter the budget, the movie will be good.
yeah, I agree. All right, well, thank you for joining us on our Christmas episode. Again, like, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays,
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
all the best for everyone. I hope everyone is having a cheerful and joyful season. We absolutely are grateful for all the listeners and viewers that we have. And yeah, like, share,
Yeah.
subscribe. Follow us on social media at Silver Magic Studios. Go onto our website, silvermagicstudios.ca, and we will see you next week where we continue with Moon Knight. So,
Yeah, and don't forget to check out our YouTube where we have
yes.
lots of other stuff. Subscribe there and check out our other videos. We play games, we do vlogs, so check that out too.
Yeah. So again, happy holidays, Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
We shall see you for the last week of December, the last week of the year, next week. Oh my
Yeah.
God, Chantal, this is terrifying.
On to 2023.
Oh my God. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Toodles.